We are in for another active week as the forecast calls for more thunderstorms, rain, and snow, which of course means another week of cooler temperatures, but there are indications that next week will be drier and a bit more mild. Hello everybody, I'm meteorologist Brad Warner from Region Weather Live, your YouTube source for weather across the Dakotas and Minnesota. We do have another deep low pressure system that will be slow to move out of our area this week. And out ahead of this on Tuesday, we have moisture coming up out of the south and returning into the region. It'll be mostly rain to start off this storm on Tuesday. As we go through Tuesday morning, you can see the rain just kind of poking through western parts of the Dakotas, with thunderstorms developing in western South Dakota, southwest North Dakota by Tuesday night. Here you can kind of see them developing right around 9-10 p.m. Central Time by the time they are just east of the Black Hills region and starting to move eastward through the overnight hours. By around midnight, the stronger portion of these storms will be right around the central portions of South Dakota. Now, some of these storms could be strong to severe overnight with some small hail and winds gusting to 60 miles per hour. With a few of these storms as they progress eastward through the overnight hour. Wednesday morning, you can see them just starting to get into western parts of Minnesota, perhaps starting to fall apart just a little bit, but nevertheless, some storms continuing to rumble to the east. And notice now, by this point on the backside of this, the storm system starts to run into some cold air, and we see that transition turning over to snow across parts of North Dakota by Wednesday morning already. Now, around 8 or 9 a.m. Wednesday morning, you should hear and see and feel those storms running through the Twin Cities metro area and through Rochester before they exit out into the eastern parts of the state and into Wisconsin by noon. And interestingly enough, if you take a look at the wind gusts Tuesday night and into Wednesday morning, you know some of these stronger southerly winds out ahead of this main line of storms. So even perhaps before some of these storms get there, we're going to be seeing gusts of 40 to 50 miles per hour out ahead of this. And then once these storms continue to roll on eastward on the backside of this, we're starting to get some stronger winds of 60 miles per hour, even into the northern portions of Minnesota. Now, mind you, these are just going to be along with the thunderstorms. We're not talking about any snow, but just some strong gusty winds associated with this Tuesday night and into the early parts of Wednesday morning. And now for the remainder of Wednesday, we're going to see the continued rain and some scattered thunderstorms across southern parts of Minnesota here. Meanwhile, we're going to see the continuation of some snow across the northern parts of North Dakota throughout the day Wednesday and on into Wednesday night. And as we get into Thursday, we sort of get into the second act of this storm as we see more moisture being pulled up Thursday morning, and we see some more thunderstorms across southern portions of Minnesota. But look what happens up into northern parts of Minnesota as we go through the day on Thursday. Runs into some of that cold air that is remaining up in the north, has some snow starting to fall, and really taking a look at several other models. This isn't the only model that's painting that snow, that good bit of snow across the North Country on Thursday. Most of them do, in fact, indicate some snow. Even these two here that don't really indicate anything at this point push in the snow just a little bit later in the day on Thursday. So most of the models indicating as we go into Thursday, at least some chance, at least as we go into Thursday, of some accumulating snow across the north. And just to give you kind of an idea where that snow line right now is going to occur, you can see it's mostly north of I-94. Looks like those of you along the Twin Cities, St. Cloud, Alexandria region should be north of you, but once you get more into the lakes country and northward up to the Canadian border, for you guys up in the northern half of the state, we have the possibility of some accumulating snow. So how much exactly, I think that yet needs to be resolved out is kind of, that's a little bit far out there yet to determine exactly how much, but we're going to have to keep an eye on into Thursday just to determine how much exactly you could see up there. Now, we can't forget about those across northern parts of North Dakota. This is just a little variation of the snow that we were looking at a little bit earlier. So just kind of keep your eye on across the northern parts of North Dakota as we step through some of these models and just kind of give an idea of where they're indicating some of the heavier snowfall could occur. Again, kind of hard to determine exactly how much will fall and how much will stick at this point. But for those of you along Highway 2 and northward, I'd say just be expecting the possibility of some accumulating snowfall from about Tuesday night on into Thursday. In fact, if we get into Thursday night or so, once that low pressure finally begins to move out, we still have a little bit of light snow across portions of our area. Here we are Friday morning right around 7 a.m. You can see where the possible light snow might occur. But the other thing to keep an eye on is going to be these stronger northerly winds. Now, it's not expected to be too harsh for those that are expecting the snowfall to come out of this. But mind you, take a look at this stuff down in South Dakota where we're looking at 40, maybe 50 miles per hour. Not really expecting a whole lot of snowfall there, but more so in the north. We're looking at the 35 to maybe even 40 range as we get into Friday. But once we get into Friday night, those wind gusts diminish pretty quickly. And then as we get into the weekend, that's kind of when we start to dry out and things begin to look a little better. Now, once we get past the weekend and into next week, you can see this low pressure kind of dumbbells around in the east. We got another one out in the west. And what we're left with is what we call an omega block. And if we take a little more of a wide out view here, you can see that block once again with the two low pressure systems in here. And a lot of times what this does is it just kind of plugs up everything behind it to where not a lot of movement is expected to occur. We kind of sit underneath this little bit of dome of high pressure going into the middle to later part of next week. That should allow some of these warmer temperatures to kind of seep into our area. I mean, we're not talking the 80s and 90s, but a little more milder air as we get into next week. All right, forecasted high temperatures throughout this week. For Tuesday, we're looking at 40s across the north to mid to upper 70s in southern parts of South Dakota. Wednesday begins the cool down where we're going to have highs only in the mid 30s across the north and around the mid 60s to around 70 across far southern portions, southeast South Dakota, southern Minnesota. Thursday, even cooler, particularly up in the northwestern parts of North Dakota, where we're looking at highs only in the upper 20s to low 30s. And as you get down to the south, we're looking at highs right around 60. Friday, those high temperatures are expected to be right near freezing across parts of North Dakota to only to mid to upper 40s across the south. And then Saturday, we begin that rebound just a little bit where we're looking at mid to upper 30s across the north to about the mid to upper 50s in the south. And on Sunday, just a little bit warmer, mid to upper 60s south to mid 40s in the north. Now, there are winter storm watches currently in effect for far northeastern parts of Montana that butt up right up against North Dakota. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see a winter storm watch out for the far northwestern parts of North Dakota. So including Crosby, Williston, Stanley, Kenmare, kind of in that region, just again, north of Highway 2, where we're looking at maybe the possibility of 6 inches or more by the time this is all said and done up in the northwestern parts of North Dakota. And then also across northern parts of Minnesota going into Thursday, wouldn't be surprised if at least we see some winter weather advisories across the north. Now, the good thing is the winds won't be too bad as that snow develops there on Thursday, but we are looking at the possibility of some accumulating snow, so that'll need to be watched as we go throughout the week. All right, everybody, to keep updated with the latest weather forecast, make sure you subscribe down below and hit the bell button right beside it so that you're notified the next time I upload a video just like this, and I'll be on live anytime there is winter weather, a big winter weather event, and any severe weather throughout the summer. So make sure you subscribe. At the very least, hit the thumbs up button. I would appreciate that. And that helps me out, and that helps out my channel. All right, everybody, for Region Weather Live, I'm meteorologist Brad Warner, and everybody have a good day.